1, 2, 3.
Hello, welcome to Rock the Cash Bar. I'm Ben Mowbray.
And I'm Diane Gallagher.
Every week we pick one song and do a deep dive into the lyrics and explain the different ways they've been interpreted.
We will also discuss how the song connected to us on a personal level, focusing on all the embarrassing details.
Glad to have you here. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Cash Bar, listeners and Diane. We're in the same room together.
We're in the same room together.
We're sitting next to each other. I hope I smell okay.
You smell fine.
All right, good news. I got a little nervous about that sort of thing. They're putting in a new sewer line in front of my house because I am so full of shit. They needed all new pipes. So there's just nothing but road crews and construction. We couldn't record there. So I rushed down here. Sorry, I'm a mess.
It's okay.
Thanks for letting me into your home.
Jackhammer again. We tried to record on Wednesday, but you were like, there's a jackhammer outside my window. And then right before we recorded, you're like, it's back. I'm coming to your house.
They've moved in a bulldozer. It's time.
All right.
Welcome to the Cash Bar.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a fun one because we're doing really not one, not two, but three different artists on this one.
Pretty much.
We have a guest today. He's the host of the podcast Lima Time. He's a comedian. He's a thinker, an all-around good fella. Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick McLellan. Patrick, how are you?
Hooray! Where's the loud applause? I need the loud applause. And I'm not a thinker. I am an absolute moron.
Perfect.
Let's get that. Let's get that out the way.
You got about half a dozen guitars behind you, so you know more about music than we do.
Yep.
No, it's all posturing.
He's like, these are foam.
You're going to fit right in. Posturing's all we do around here.
I don't know what music is. I don't know what it is.
Let it into your soul, my good man. So which song did you choose, and which of these artists that have produced this version of the song do you want to focus on?
Ooh, I think all we could touch on all of them because it's important. But I chose Magnolia, but the specifically John Mayer's cover, which he did for a Clapton album that wasn't really Clapton. So it's kind of weird. Yeah. So I guess Eric Clapton got the credit, but the one I sent was it's a John Mayer's cover. It's just him. So, but it's credited as Eric Clapton featuring John Mayer. So I'm sure it's confusing and then J.J. Cale wrote it.
Right.
Yeah, I learned a lot about
any clarification there. I just made it so much more confusing.
Well, I mean, it's a hard thing because I'm sure people who are older listening to this know exactly who J.J. Cale is. I didn't. And then researching him, you see why, because he didn't want any of the spotlight. So, he was obviously behind a lot of songs that we do know, especially a lot of Clapton songs, but he preferred to stay out of the limelight and just be the wizard behind these great lyrics, which I always have so much admiration for people like that. I guess because my ego is just a little bigger and I'm gonna be like, no, me, I wrote this,
Yeah, or you think that people who get into the performing arts get into it because they want that on stage recognition. And then here's a guy who's just like, I just like doing the work.
Yeah.
Like that's really kind of rare.
Yeah.
That's a true artist. And like, I'm very jealous of that. Like, I just have this in me and I got to get out and write songs, but here, go be a star. And I have to do this because I ooze this and I want to be that. That's what I want to be. No, it's like me.
We all want that.
It would be tattooed on me. I'd be like bringing it up at every possible.
Oh, I'd be obnoxious. I'd have t-shirts. Yeah. I write cocaine.
Yeah, I found out about J.J. Cale. I bought like a Eric Clapton Crossroads Guitar Festival DVD from like 2004 or something. And J.J. was performing a bunch of the songs with Clapton. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I found out, I was like, oh, those are all just his songs.
Yeah.
He's a cool artist. His versions are cool.
Yeah. So they really are. I watched some live performances and I was like, oh, he could have held his own easily. He just didn't want to.
Yeah. He had like a folksy, like one of those cool people that like can't sing but can sing, like the Bob Dylan-y, like just where it's like it's not a historically good voice, but it somehow is a cool voice.
Yeah,
exactly. The guitar, he's cool.
Yeah,
but the John Mayer version was the one that I specifically because I think it's a perfect cover and it's beautiful from top to bottom.
Yeah.
it's a really believable voice that he has. Like sometimes you listen to people and just like, okay, you're an angel, like you're otherworldly.
Right.
Like JJ Cale's voice is very much just like every recording of his that I listened to this week, just I could totally imagine myself sitting in a tiny bar room and having some guy I've never heard of named JJ Cale come up and sing this song.
Yeah.
Like it was co-written by The Road. You know, like he was on the road, like you could tell these people on the road, like written in a place that you're talking about, in an ice house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got a real lived-in feel to it. So we're gonna do Magnolia, and I guess we might as well just go into the lyrics before we go any further.
Whippoorwill singing, soft summer breeze.
Whippoorwills singing. Whippoorwills, anybody?
Whippoorwill. Had no idea that's how you spell that.
The eastern whippoorwill is a medium-sized bird of the nightjar family,
All right.
which also includes Chuck Will's widow. I want to hang out with the guys who name birds. It just seems like they're having way too much fun with it. This one is called Baby's Breath Peanut Butter.
There's a lot of them, so you gotta start stretching out. After a while, you gotta get creative with your bird names.
I had a friend of mine whose first 2 daughters were named after birds, and so she got pregnant again, and we were having way too much fun throwing out bird names.
It's like, all right, Pelican, get down from there, Pelican.
Let's guess them. Sparrow and Robin are my guess.
No.
Mm-mm. Hawk and
2 girls.
Yeah, Japanese devil owl and Mississippi mudhawk.
It's not chicken and parrot, is it?
It's cock and no, I'm just kidding. It's Piper and Raven.
So
They're both. So we got a witch and a one witch.
Yeah.
I like how we've gotten to the first 2 words of this. We've gone off the rails in the first 2 words of these lyrics.
I know 100 guys named Rooster. I wonder what happens when you introduce a rooster to a Bubba.
Well, God,
Fight to the death. It's a cockfight.
Yeah. You're right. Someone else I knew had 3 boys and named them Hunter, Trapper, and Fisher. Where I was like, I'm out.
Oh.
Can't.
Yikes. Whippoorwills singing, soft summer breeze makes me think of my baby I left down in New Orleans. If you're gonna leave your lady anywhere, New Orleans is the place to do it. It's
for sure.
Dark, grim architecture, a real kind of bloody history. There's a romance to it, you know.
I love New
Haunted.
Haunted.
It's one of my favorite cities. Well, yeah, it's very haunted, and like there's like magic and there's voodoo, and then there's all these cultures clashing. New Orleans rules.
Yeah,
it really does.
You leave her in New Orleans, she might become a vampire. You leave her in Grand Rapids, she's just going to get a real estate license. Like you have to do the right thing.
That is actually true.
Magnolia, you sweet thing, you're driving me mad.
Magnolia, you sweet thing, you're driving me mad. So that's her name, Magnolia, right? So this is very Southern.
Yeah.
The whippoorwill is
the
apparently,
whippoorwill.
Yeah, the summer breeze, leaving your baby in New Orleans. Magnolia is a very steel magnolias. Magnolia.
It's the vapors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You can kind of picture Magnolia. Magnolia.
It's a big tree. I think the thing that sticks out for me is like even if you don't know the imagery, hearing those lyrics, I knew the imagery. I could hear the whippoorwill. I could see the big magnolia trees, and that's. I mean, we're from the South, or at least I am. Mm-hmm. So like I do know what a magnolia tree looks like, and that like Louisiana, New Orleans type thing. But like I feel like it just painted that so clearly and vividly that I could see it the second I hear it. Like I can hear the mood and I can see the scene. I don't, but that's just me.
You can also smell it, because the thing about magnolia trees, my favorite part of spring is when you would have one in full bloom and you can smell it from like 2 blocks away. So you can, like, that breeze is coming. He's talking about magnolia, the whippoorwill singing. Like nothing sets the Southern scene better than like the first few lines of this song. That's
true. They do it's amazing because the lyrics are very, very simple and very, very straightforward, but they're incredibly evocative.
Yeah.
Like this one tugged at my heart almost as much or more as any other song that we've done.
Gotta get back to you, babe. You're the best I ever had. I ever had.
Magnolia, you sweet thing, you're driving me mad. Got to get back to you, babe. You're the best I ever had. You're the best I ever had. So he's in full-on dude mode. This is a heartbroken dude who's got to get his baby back.
Patrick, have you ever had these heartbreaking feelings for a lady?
So many times I can't even count. My life is heartbreak. No, you know, I saw a comment in the YouTube when I was watching one of the videos, and somebody said, which I thought was perfect, was that this song lyrics and it sounds like soulmates about to meet up in heaven. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what this is.
Whoa.
I know. I was like, shout out to the first YouTube commenter that wasn't saying something racist or terrible, that actually I was like, that's exactly what this is.
We need to find them and ask them to be a guest on our podcast. If you're going to have that kind of insight, come on out.
Comment. And it was just like, yeah, I mean, and a lot of the comments on this song were real positive, which I love seeing when something's just not just completely trash, but they were just like, oh, this great cover, perfect, what a great composition, this and that. And then I read this and just like, oh, that is exactly what this is. Like, I love when people can put it into words, exactly the feeling. You know, it's just, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and not get too complicated with it. Like, he's just sticking to the real meat and potatoes of this. Like, it doesn't get too florid. He doesn't get too carried away. He doesn't do the weird literary shit that I would like to try to do with it.
Right, well, isn't that like, that's interesting for me, because I think like, if I used to try to write songs, and I think that like I would want to be so deep and metaphorical and use words like juxtapositional and all this stuff, and now looking, that's trash, that I should just say exactly what it is as simply as possible. And those are the songs that really strike a chord in me. I'm just like, oh, just say the exact feeling, exactly what you're doing in the exact moment. So
yeah, I used to get
down. I'm on a tractor. I'm drinking a beer. It's like, oh, that's why people love it, because that's what you're doing.
It's relatable, and it's not over anyone's head either. You don't have to go to the dictionary to figure out what the fuck this guy's talking about. Like, if you're wanting to get down to some simple heartbreak feelings, sometimes you just got to be as simple as you can with your feelings, right. And that's so relatable to people. Which
is what he does next up in the very next verse, which is really, really short but very, very cutting. He goes, "You whisper good morning so gently in my ear. I'm coming home to you, baby." When you miss somebody, like when you really, really miss them, it's not like a specific event or a specific, it's the tiny, tiny little things that when you're with them, you don't appreciate. It's we talked about it on the Leonard Cohen episode, with Annie gone, whose eyes compare to the morning sun. Not that I did compare, but I do compare. Now she's gone.
Yes.
Like, it's just like, fuck. You're absolutely right. You don't think about what it means to wake up next to somebody and have them say good morning to you, and how it affects you, how it puts you on the right path, how it mentally smooths you over until it's gone, until
you wake up to nothing. Yeah.
It's always those little it's always the little things that wouldn't necessarily come to it's very hyper specific little things like that really go straight into the soul. It's I'm with you on that.
Yeah, that one can tear your heart out. I'm coming home to you, baby. I'll soon be there. I'll soon be there. So that, now that I'm thinking of it in the terms that you put it in, as almost like two spirits about to meet in heaven, like that really raises.
Right. And the music's got this, like, it's just like, and one of the other reasons that I love the song so much was that, like, the vibe it has, it brings me down. Like, I've gotten into changing my mood with music and playlists. And this is on my, like, if I'm anxious or if I need to be brought down, this brings me down to a place of peace and serenity almost instantly. So like that goes along with that soulmates meeting in heaven thing. It's got a peacefulness to it that's not quite heartbreaking. It's exactly what it is, and I love it so much.
Yeah, I think it's because there's a hopefulness mixed into the heartbreak.
It's heartbreak with hope.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, he's going back, and it seems like he's got every reason to think that.
Yeah, it's a yearning. It's a yearning to get back, and that's not necessarily, it's a heartbreak that you're not there, but it doesn't mean that you're like can't get back there.
Yeah. It's not a gone forever love, it looks like here.
Magnolia, you sweet thing, you're driving me mad. I've got to get back to you, babe. You're the best I ever had. And those are the lyrics to the song. Like,
we could have all written it, but we could not have written this.
It says, you're the best I ever had, over and over and over and over till the song ends, and you're just picturing him on the road driving, and just that repeating.
It really has a trucker rock feeling to it. Like, you can totally picture some guy in the cab of the big rig gobbling no-dos, crying his eyes out. talking to his best friend on the CB radio.
Smoking cigarette.
It's another night of heartbreak out here on America's highways.
I like
Yeah.
Yeah, then he's got to turn it off so all the racial slurs don't come through from everyone.
I was thinking about like how, because you think of truckers as these really tough guys, solitary dudes. But I think, is there any group of people in America whose lifestyles are more opposed to one another than long haul truckers and short order cooks? Like those guys are seriously oil and water. Like that's because they meet every night at the Waffle House, and it's got to be just tension. Like here's the long haul trucker who's making good money, but he's away from his family.
Yes.
He's not at home taking care of his responsibilities. You got the short order cook who's making dick money, but he's there every day. He's at home. He's in the household. He's present. Like it's different forms of masculinity fighting it out over some deep fried bacon.
I love it. Yeah.
It's evil to see. Every time I have a song like this, they're like the I Gotta Get You Back, Babe. They always feel a little incomplete to me because everything in my head is going, what'd you do, man?
Yeah, we blaming him.
Yeah.
He says, I left her. In New
Exactly.
Orleans. Yeah.
Yep. I left her down in New Orleans. Like,
He had a long haul. He had to get to Portland and get the timber up to the
I like
Oregon.
the narrative you're writing. It's like, no, he didn't do anything bad. He just has a job. Okay.
So get off his back.
I just don't think that you end up with this kind of regret without having some fault in it.
A little bit. Yeah, maybe.
It definitely feels like you spilled a little bit of blood here, didn't you? You're not
Mm.
telling us the whole story.
Yeah, it's the love of his life, and maybe he was going off to do music, and you got to go tour, and you got to go do this, and there's nothing like this is fine. I have to go do this, but made the choice to go do this in the career and go out and do. But the love was there, and it always there, and realizing that, like that was it, and I made this call, and
Mhm.
you know.
I think he's a bird watcher. I think he was just like, I love you, baby, but there's a red-breasted water thresher I got to chase down. It's 2,000 miles away. I'll see you.
I've been chasing this red herring. Get it? Thank you.
We went from
I got a bunch of
truck
bird
drivers
jokes.
to the guy in the high-waisted pants and the binoculars. There's
I always picture that. Do you remember like when the lady that got canceled for choking the dog in Central Park,
No.
where she had she was calling the police on this black man who was a bird watcher.
Mm.
And anyway, he was a bird watcher, and he was dressed like you would think a bird watcher. It was funny. That's the story. But anyway, it was the bird watcher, but he was dressed hilarious. And, like satchel and like this color, and I was just like, yeah, if you're gonna be a bird watcher, you're going to like be a quintessential bird watcher, and I think that's great.
And that's awesome. It just shows the level of racist with this woman.
Right, yeah, this is like the least like, yeah, just like, this guy's a bird watcher. It's like, you are not in danger.
That guy.
Like hobbies that you have to get in costume for.
Oh yeah.
It's perfect. It reminds me of that Stephen Wright joke. Like there's a fine line between fishing and standing on the shore looking like an idiot.
It's a really good joke.
Stephen Wright didn't write any bad ones.
That's true. I might be a bird watcher for Halloween.
It's a good idea.
So this is a song by J.J. Cale, who is a sort of like the reclusive rock genius. And I guess he was a big inspiration to Eric Clapton. He was from Tulsa, Oklahoma, from what I read. And again, I'd never heard this guy's name until this week.
Right.
I guess he was born in Tulsa and took up music there. And he learned to basically be a sound engineer. He got a job at a recording studio. And then he moved out to Los Angeles with a couple of other musicians from Tulsa and got a job as a sound engineer. And that was sort of his foot in the door. So he was recording his own songs. And unbeknownst to him, Eric Clapton had come across a recording of a tape of his that had been making the rounds. It included the song After Midnight.
Yeah.
And then Clapton records After Midnight, because apparently you're Clapton, you can do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, this is some artist that nobody's heard of. So he just records the song thinking, all right, I'll pay it later. And that's exactly what happens. It's like J.J. Cale, who's at this point has moved back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, basically living in his car, not making any money, hears his own song on the radio, calls his contacts back in LA, and they're like, oh yeah, there's a pile of money waiting for you.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
That's one thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Diane.
No, I was saying it was a dream. Go for it. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that's one thing about Clapton, at least musically. He did take a lot of music from a lot of different people, but he did always pay homage to all the blues guys, and he at least like, and he became great friends with JJ. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of somebody who is taking other people's music. I think Clapton's a great guitar player, and I don't know if I respect him as a person, but I respect him as a guitar player. But he's not as original as somebody like John Mayer is, who it's all his music, it's all his lyrics. I don't know. That's something that bothers me about Clapton, at least. I know we weren't talking about attacking Clapton, but he did take care of these people, and he wasn't like the Rolling Stones who were just stealing music. I mean, no, Led Zeppelin. It was both of them. Really, Led Zeppelin. I have a big problem with them stealing a bunch of music, but that's neither here nor there.
Didn't they finally lose their lawsuit, Led Zeppelin, a couple of years ago?
I hope so.
Yeah, I
hope so. They rock. Don't get me wrong. It's no disrespect to them musically, but they were like literally just like they were doing what Clapton was doing and just hoping nobody noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, like not giving credit.
Like, yeah, because everybody was stealing. I mean, how easy was that? You have this obscure blues record and you just record a blues song and it becomes a mega hit and nobody's ever heard of, Mississippi Jones or whoever you stole the song from. So anyway.
A couple of years ago, it was like Tom Petty was suing, I think it was Ed Sheeran or somebody, at least in that headspace.
Oh, really?
Yeah, over, I forget the name of the song, but it was basically just three chords. And I remember like reading about the lawsuit and going, okay, that's for the music experts to sort out.
Yeah.
Like I have
Do you remember the Marvin Gaye, Pharrell, Robin Thicke lawsuit?
Oh yeah.
Which Pharrell and Robin Thicke ended up losing, and it was for what was the song? They were saying yes, and they were saying, and the Marvin Gaye's people were saying it was too similar to Let's Get It On. And it wasn't the same chord progression at all. It just had the same feeling. And the court actually ruled against, and Pharrell was like, you don't have a copyright on a feeling. If it's not the same chords, it's not the same song. It just felt like that kind of vibe. And they ended up losing. And it was just a real weird case. So
yeah, that is weird, because when I know both of those songs really well, and I would have never connected them.
I guess what we're saying is trust.
You go back and listen to, there is a vibe to it that but it's a vibe. It's not, I don't know. Like there's nobody that's more original than Pharrell.
Yeah.
Shouts to Robin Thicke. I like Robin Thicke.
I
almost picked a real cheesy pop song to do on this, and I was like, "No, I'm gonna do something tonight." I was gonna do Nick Jonas, "Jealous."
Well, we keep saying like we bash pop music, and people keep threatening to come on and tell us we're wrong.
I love pop music. We can do this again, and I will do. I love new pop. I respect pop music, and I think that's something that needs to be addressed because it is good. There's reason it's pop. It's not all crap. Justin Bieber is good. Just because a lot of people like him doesn't mean he's not talented. He makes good songs.
I respect it just because it's such a big swing. Like if you're Rihanna or Jay-Z or somebody on that level where you're literally thinking, I'm trying to write the song of the summer.
Yeah.
And
I am trying to get,
and then you do?
It's insane.
That's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a crazy difficult thing to do. Like nobody would ever sit down and just go, I am trying to write the biggest thing ever. And that's what they're doing. Like it's almost arrogant. Like it
is. Right. You have to have that arrogance, I think, to write a mega hit. If you're on that level and you have to keep swinging, if you're somebody like beyond, and of course other people are writing some of these songs, but you mentioned like Ed Sheeran writes all his songs, like those. So all of those hits that he's had, he wrote, and he's writing songs for Bieber. He's writing songs for other people. Like that's crazy to have one hit, much less multiple ones.
Taylor Swift writes all her own stuff, and she has since she was very young.
The fact that anybody disrespects Taylor Swift is, I don't even know. He has notebooks filled with just throwaway songs that are better than some people could ever dream of writing. It's crazy talent.
I got a sore spot for Taylor Swift though.
Why?
Her dad is he was like a Wall Street executive, and he had this daughter who had the show business shining, the Carney blood. She's writing her songs and everything like that. So he moved the whole family to Nashville and basically like bought her the recording studio time and all of that stuff. So
kind of helped. But you know what?
But he cultivated a talent, and it was the move because that was what she was going to do. So I mean,
I'm absolutely not saying she's not talented. I am saying she didn't have to fight through it the way the others did, and that bothers me. I'm allowing that to bother me.
Okay.
That's fair.
It's one of these like, everybody needs to struggle. You
Exactly.
gotta roll in the mud. Fuck your dad with his money. Like you wouldn't take it if it was offered you.
Exactly. Like absolutely. Of course I would.
Yeah.
Of course I would.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, but I'm with you. I think that there's something to be said for the struggle and overcoming great odds and being like, yeah, like, no, I've been doing comedy for 10 years and like, oh, I look like I'm new on the scene. No, I've been literally dying for for this time to make it. So, or playing music. And it's like, no, I'm not new to this.
Yeah.
So I'm with that.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot with like, comedians who get mad at like young comedians who like catapult to fame. And I'm always like, but watch yourself, because if it had been offered to you, you would have taken it. What are they supposed to be like? No, I haven't paid my dues.
Yeah.
Don't give me a special yet. Like, you're going to fucking take it, you know?
There's part of me, like, I'm always in two ways about it. There's part of me, like, I'm a little bit bitter. And then the other part of me, like, well, at least the catapult is still there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
When did you lose did you lose your bitterness? Because that was something that like, well, it's almost a rite of passage, and especially in comedy, where there's a time where if you have talent and you're funny and you've done it long enough, where you are possibly equal to people that have made it, and you are bitter that your talent doesn't equal what you're currently doing, and you get bitter and you start talking, you watch every special, you start talking shit, and then I think you realize, oh, those people aren't against me.
Yeah.
Or you see somebody that you were trashing and you're like, oh no, they're a professional, they are as good.
Oh,
I should have trashed him, and then all of a sudden you're not against anybody, and like now I'm just like, I hope everybody makes it. Like I'm rooting for everybody, and I have no ill will towards anybody. I just stopped. I think it might just be getting older. I just stopped trashing things because I don't. There's no point.
I think your bitterness goes away when you realize how useless it is. Like, I think there's a moment when, at least when I was a young man, I thought being bitter and cynical was a real cool pose. Like that's the guy that I wanted to be. And then by the time I was about 30, I was just like, no, this is not working for me at all.
No one likes this. No one is a fan of this.
Yeah.
You're too. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, did you want to talk about the first time we met in relation to this song?
Yeah, Diane and I actually met when I was in basically exactly this moment. I was about 25. I'd moved out to LA with my then girlfriend, and things were going well for a little bit, but then we broke up. I had a disastrous audition at the Comedy Store. LA was just kicking my fucking ass everywhere.
Fuck LA.
So I went to the Comedy Store to sort of cheer myself up, to reorient myself. And I'd come back to, like, you started doing comedy after I'd moved, I think. So
yeah, I started in 2003, and then I'd seen you, but not really met.
Yeah, because I came back a couple of times. So we'd like said hello.
Yeah.
Like your friend, my friends were your friends now. It's like, oh, there's this lady Diane. So like, okay, hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So I knew of you, but I'm sitting at the Comedy Store. I'm in the back. I'm a little bit drunk. And
this is like 2004?
2004 or 5, yeah. And I'm just, so 24, 25. I'm just a bombed out husk. I'm hating myself. Nothing has turned out the way that I wanted it to. I've ruined everything. And then here comes this beautiful lady out of the darkness to say, hey, aren't you Ben Mowbray? And the only thing going through my head was just like, holy fuck, I don't want everybody back home to know that this is what it's turned out like. So I just looked Diane right in the eyes and just went, no, you got me confused with someone else. Like, I just straight up denied.
We're in the back of the Comedy Store.
Power move.
That back part of the Comedy Store where everybody's like signatures are on the wall, and we're hanging out. And I was actually talking to, what's the guy that was on Mad TV, the little Asian guy, Bobby Lee. He had just bummed a cigarette off of me, and then I look over and I was like, hey, I know that guy. And I walked straight up to you and I was just like, hey, I'm from Houston. I do comedy in Houston. And you were just like, nope, no, I'm not. And I was like, I've never been gaslit. I've never been gaslit in my life. And I had no idea how to respond. I was like, no, but you are. Like, you're very easy to recognize. You're like 6'3" and 130 pounds. And I just had to like slowly walk away. Like,
you just gotta believe him. You just have to, even though you just gotta be like, yeah, I am wrong. I'm not gonna. You can't dig in. You can't like dig further. It's just, no, I don't want to get involved in this. I'm getting out of here.
So I keep doing comedy in Houston, and eventually you moved back, and I remember being like, you,
you horrifying man, you.
And then you were very apologetic at that point because you had to be.
I couldn't help it. I was very
playing on the Quaaludes. I was on Ludes, man. I don't know.
No, I just wanted to get my baby back.
Yeah,
Mm.
I know.
No,
I
just
know.
full on get my baby back, my whole life back in order.
I know. I know. I'm sorry.
You're gonna get back to your Magnolia.
Exactly. Back to Magnolia.
So, okay, let's talk about John Mayer because so I will admit I've never been the biggest fan because I didn't get into it. Like all I knew about John Mayer is like when the Body is a Wonderland song came out and it was everywhere and he won a Grammy for it. And I just didn't like it. It just wasn't my song. So I never went further, but I do know that he is a gem and precious to most men my age. So today I went and watched a documentary about him on YouTube and I was like, I get it. I get it.
Best. He is the best. John's tough. Well, for me as a guitar player, John is my, and this is gonna shock a little bit, but I think he might end up being the best ever. I think he is the best ever. He is that good of a guitar player. Better than Hendrix, better than Clapton, better than Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's absolutely brilliant.
He's very good. Yeah. So in saying that, I'm just going to interrupt you. Clapton has been said to say that Prince is the best guitar player ever. And I think Clapton has a good ear for like who's actually the best. And I think Clapton might agree with you. That's why he's such a fan of John Mayer.
Yeah, there was an interview with Clapton for this album where he talked about John and said that John was an absolute master of the guitar. And he was like, I don't know if John knows how good he is.
Yeah.
So Clapton absolutely has said John's great. And he is, and he plays so many styles. I mean, he's Jerry Garcia with the Grateful Dead right now. I don't know if you've checked out any of that, but the Dead and Company are fucking rad. He plays Jerry Garcia's part.
That's
with
really
Bob
cool.
Weir and the Dead and Company, and like that music is nuts. Like it's just jam music, so like it's sick. So I'm a big fan. I try not to be one of those like I don't want to like impose John Mayer on people. I don't like, it's for me. I love him. I'll listen to him, but I'm not like, oh, here, check out. See, I think there's a group of people that you probably loop in with guys my age that are sitting there like, John's the best. No, check out this solo. See how great he is. I don't care if you think he's great. Right. It's for me. So I'm not trying to push him on people because that's the worst thing you can ever do with music. It's like, no, seriously, listen to this album. Listen to these lyrics. Listen to the guitar. Like, I'm not gonna put that on somebody else.
Well, it's one of those things where,
check
like,
it out.
You don't get it until like someone twists it in a different way. Like I just remembered the lyric bubblegum tongue and I didn't like it. And so I just dropped it. And so, but when I was watching the documentary today, I didn't realize what an influence Stevie Ray Vaughan was on him. And I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. And
that's Johnny's my favorite for sure.
I'm listening and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I hear it. And he had the great quote of saying like, you find your voice when you're badly trying to imitate someone else. And so now I was like, oh, I hear it. He's just like a reincarnation of Stevie Ray Vaughan and he plays just as well and he kind of sounds like him. But he is doing his own thing. He's not just copycatting. He's writing his own lyrics. We all have influences. And I think he deserves all of this fame. And he's funny. Like I had to just
he's hilarious. He is, and he tours with Dave Chappelle. They have a comedy tour. I don't know if you've seen him. I mean, it's almost annoying how smart and how funny he is, and then having musical talent too. It's like, it's a little bit annoying.
Yeah. And then all the beautiful women he's had relationships with.
But I do think he's very misunderstood. I think a lot of that Rolling Stone article when he called Jessica Simpson sexual napalm, which is hilarious. Mm-hmm. And he got labeled a womanizer, and everybody's just like, oh, he's a douche. And like, I think he's very, very misunderstood. And I really don't think he's a douche. I think he's a pretty nice guy. But I watch his like Instagram. He has like an Instagram talk show that he goes live and plays little jams with artists and stuff. And like, so I enjoy him. So I don't know how much is my bias and how much is like him being genuine, but I see him as a genuine, just a good dude that likes music.
And how hard it is how do you be yourself in the public eye without stepping in shit every now and again? Like I'm a deeply flashed. If the camera was all the time, you'd see some terrible shit.
And who's gonna swat away all these like famous, beautiful women that want to be with him? Like, who's gonna say no?
He would say that like, and he took full responsibility and just saying, I wanted to say something. I wanted to be clever. I wanted to be hilarious, and I wanted to be cool at all times. So he was always trying to say the funny and cool thing, like like these little sound bites that just come off douchey if you're just trying to be funny all the time. So I do get that because I'm kind of the same way. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Mhm.
I'm not trying to force people to listen to him. Like John Mayer, I mean, he rules, and you like him or you don't.
Well, can we force people to listen to you? I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 6 guitars back there. Do you want to play anything for us?
I mean, I don't really want to.
Serenade us, Patrick.
I don't really. I mean, I don't play much. I don't play much rhythm. So like I really need a band. It's not loud, so I can't really play by myself.
Yeah, I got drums for you.
Yeah, I know. So I don't really know. I don't really know what to do. I meant to learn the little Magnolia lick, but I didn't. I could if I could hear it, I could do it. Yeah, so I could just playing solo stuff is not very fun to just hear without anything.
Look at his fingers go. My God.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it's very anticlimactic.
Diane, where do you come down on the famous guitarists versus drummers who makes the better lover debate?
They're gross and callous. These are it's not good. It's not good.
The best I heard, it was guitarists' skillful fingers versus drummers' driving beats.
What's so funny when I imagine myself like in a band, I'm always lead guitar, but anytime I go see live music, I want to bang the drummer. I don't know what though. They make these like very like, sometimes they're really dumb faces, but sometimes these sexual faces. And it's also because I think I could learn guitar. I did have a guitar when I was younger. I don't understand drums. I don't see how your leg is doing one thing, this arm's doing this. I'm like, I don't either.
Yeah.
I know. And guitar faces, which are, you cannot control them, but you do look retarded. I can't understand it. It's like it's very much involuntary in all those faces, and it's like you're wheeling a note, and it's a part of a flow state or something. But like you can't if I watch a video of myself playing, like the faces, I'm just like, it's not good. Think about
Stevie Ray Vaughan, like his faces, but like
John's are bad. Clapton kind of like Clapton had the best one, but he still like looks up and he has this weird chin, and yeah, they're all bad. But Stevie Ray Vaughan was literally being contorted by a real demon. That demon was himself, and he couldn't escape it, and then he died in a helicopter crash. Rest in peace, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That's probably where little Steven Van Zandt came up with Silvio from The Sopranos grimace. He's just constantly remembering that wrong note he played.
I just loved him just sitting in the background, or he'd just have a hat on, and just like I just loved just seeing him. Made me happy every time I'd see him playing music.
Right? You know who doesn't have an ugly guitar face is one of the best guitarists of all times is Prince. Like everybody.
Oh, he can get it. If you watch the performance of While My Guitar Gently Weeps on which is one of the best guitar solos ever, the story behind it and him just showing up and like, cool. Like he was such a showman though, that his guitar face was like part of the show.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody play with more swagger and pizzazz while still being good, where he's like shooting it like a machine gun and like playing it upside down, and like it's incredible. Like I could never do anything other than play the guitar in the moment. Like
we did a Prince episode last year, and I watched that performance, and I really don't think that, I'm sure he told those guys like, look, I'm really going to shred on the solo.
Yeah.
He didn't even show up to rehearsals.
Oh, really?
They hadn't even played, so he just showed. They just realized they were witnessing a moment and let him go. So he skipped rehearsal, and he just showed up for that and just did it. And they were all just like, "This is incredible! Like he's fucking rules." So they hadn't played with them before. They're all, it's a super band of guys playing together, no rehearsal, and just came in there and did that. They're just like, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's what I thought I was watching. I thought those guys looking at each other just like, he's really still going. This is really happening. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, that I watched that. It pops up every year around when it happened. But if I ever see it in my feed or algorithm or something, like I will click on it every single time. It's just what an incredible Prince.
That and his Super Bowl performance where he
man.
Can you make
Purple Rain in the rain? Playing Purple Rain in the rain, and it's just like the silhouette, and just like, you want to talk about just moments like that, you're just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
It was undeniably, I think, like one of the best performances. All right, I feel like we could talk for hours. I mean, I haven't even like touched a lot of this research, but I don't even know how important it is. I did like this one thing they talked about JJ Cale in the 80s, where basically he kind of, you didn't hear from him, and someone when later asked how he spent the 80s, he replied, mowing the lawn and listening to Van Halen and rap.
Yep.
So he just rules. He's just somebody that rules, and like
Yeah.
there's nothing. Or he was just doing cocaine, and that's when he wrote that.
Yeah.
Didn't he write cocaine?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so he wrote After Midnight, Cocaine. He wrote this, and there's a
Call Me the Breeze.
Call Me the Breeze. John Mayer also does the cover on this album of Call Me, or he does it on his album. John Mayer has a Call Me the Breeze cover. That's really good.
It's really good.
I saw about a 5-minute YouTube documentary on JJ Cale, and I wasn't able to confirm this anywhere else, but it's a great story anyway. Apparently, he was booked on American Bandstand.
Whoa.
Like he's going to play live on American Bandstand, and it's going to be his big break. He had a single that was apparently going well, and he had some promotion behind it. So he's going to be on American Bandstand. He's plugging in his amps and getting everything ready to go. And he's doing the sound check, and that's when like some assistant comes over and just goes, "Oh, you don't need to do the sound check because we're just going to play the record and you're going to lip sync." And he just goes, "What's that?" And he just goes, "You're just going to pretend that you're playing and pretend that you're singing, and we're just going to play the record so that there's no mistakes." And he goes, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm a musician. I play live. And then he apparently just like literally packed up his shit and left.
Ooh,
like Dick Clark chased him into the parking lot. And he's like, "I'm a musician. I play live. I'm not going to do that bullshit. Bye."
Which is crazy because I've heard that story from multiple bands, but American Bandstand was so instrumental in becoming a star. Like that, bands were like, "Oh, that's weird." I think Pink Floyd was weird about it, or there was some bands that were like, I don't," but they still did it because they're trying to get on American Bandstand and make it.
Yeah.
So
Right.
to have the, well, I mean, we said he was your quintessential artist. Like, no, I can't do it. Sorry, I don't care if I'm famous. I have to do this, so I can't fake it. Bye.
When people don't know how to define integrity, you just tell them that story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You're like, that's what integrity is.
Yeah. Shout out to JJ Cale, man. That's rest in peace. That's I love hearing stories like that. So just like that I think these days especially, at least I find myself gravitating more towards just authenticity and realness. So just to hear stories like that from throughout history, and where people are just like, no, I don't care about the fame, and this is something like integrity and authenticity. Like that's all I want to see and all I want to hear and be around are people that are not faking it. So
Yeah, it's wonderful.
People are serious about what they're doing.
for sure.
All right. Do you want to see how Jeremy Essig connects Tommy Stinson to?
I do.
I want to see who he connects him to. So hold on.
We don't even know. He's got 3 choices here.
All right, let's watch together.
Hey friends, welcome to a very pop edition of 6 Degrees, where this week we're going to connect Tommy Stinson to John Mayer, which we can oddly do through the Katy Perry album, Prism. Mayer played guitar on the 2013 album, which came out 4 years after Perry opened the VMAs with Aerosmith's Joe Perry, playing We Will Rock You and accompanied by a large drum corps that included Superchunk's John Worster. As did every drummer based in North Carolina in the 90s, Worster also did a stint with Whiskey Town, a band whose final album, Pneumonia, would feature a contribution from Tommy Stinson. So John Mayer to Katy Perry to John Worster to Whiskey Town to Tommy Stinson. Back to Diana Penn.
He's magic.
It's pretty cool. So I will read what Jeremy sent with that email. He goes, "I don't know why this bothers me, but the actual quickest way to do this is through Mayer's guitar solo on Ryan Adams' Fuck the Rain, and then Adams to Stinson. But I figured with both John Mayer and Eric Clapton on the show, you had enough problematic people without me adding Ryan Adams to the mix."
Yeah, Ryan Adams is. Yeah, that would be a third problematic person would be problematic.
I just thought that was really funny. All right, Patrick, here's the fun part. Do you have a guilty pleasure song?
I have so many that I can't even count, but I would go with I'm a sucker for Party in the USA. Miley Cyrus. Like if that comes on, I don't care if I'm in public, if I'm in CVS or if I'm in the car, I'm jamming it and I'm singing it and I'm going to have my own party. So yeah, I'd go with that. But there's a lot of songs I have that are like that. But that one especially, like it's just a good song. And if you don't like it, like I can't help. I just can't help you.
She's got a great voice, and
She's
so
crazy talented. She's another one that I would put in with that Bieber thing, where people are like, it's not some Miley Cyrus. Oh, you mean watch one of her Tiny Desk concerts? She's insane.
when she covered Jolene, I was like, okay,
Oh, yeah.
you got me. You're great. You got me.
Yeah, she had that Mazzy Star cover that she did in
Did she
Yeah,
do
no,
Fade Into You?
yeah, and it's on the last Tiny Desk, and it's immaculate. It's incredible.
Of course it is.
And me saying it, I'm mad I didn't pick that as the song now. Like it's one of those ones I'm just like, oh yeah, check it out for sure. But shout out to Miley. But the bubblegum, like I love some bubblegum, not tongues, but I like bubblegum pop.
Yeah. I mean,
If it's
none
good.
of us can lie. It's toe tappy. It's meant to have a hook that you cannot get out of your head. I mean, there is a formula to it, but there's also an artistry to it. And like most of the songs I say I hate, I know every word to, and there's a reason for that.
I mean, and there's just so many terrible songs trying to do that don't capture what these songs do, that you have to realize that there is greatness, even if it's in a genre that you don't necessarily get down with. There's a reason this song is up top and this song you had never heard, because there's a million bad songs that are trying to do that formulaic pop hit thing, and it doesn't work. It's contrived, or it's not catchy, or it's so, I mean, these people are talented.
Yeah, it's sometimes enough to piss you off. I mean, I had a karaoke party for my birthday once, which I tend to do a lot. We're doing it again tonight. And a lot of my younger friends got up and sang If You Want to Be My Lover by Spice Girls, where I'm over here trying to be cool and funny. And then I was like, oh, but we're all loving it. So good.
Yeah, that's another thing. The two, don't be learning to not be too cool at karaoke. Like, don't play number 7, this deep cut that's only for you, that you love in your car. It's like, no, you can go in and fucking sing some cliche song that, like, because that's what everybody's gonna. You got to sing for the crowd as much as you got to sing for yourself at those.
Yeah, my go-to.
Not worry about being good, to not worry about being good, and to worry about like the whole show.
Yeah, you're not getting discovered. We're trying to have fun together. I love singing CeeLo Green's Fuck You, and I like singing Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus, because the audience loves it. It's just fun.
I was reading an article about Tears for Fears this week, and apparently the lead singer of Tears for Fears was in Vancouver shooting a TV show. So the film crew and the cast all went to a karaoke bar to loosen up. He gets on stage and sings Everybody Wants to Rule the World. That's great. And nobody in the karaoke bar knew that it was him.
That's great.
Like, there was just no reaction whatsoever. It's like, no, I'm the actual guy. All right, never mind.
Oh, love it. I love it. That's going to be so fun for them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Patrick. Before we let you go, do you want to promote your podcast? You want to promote yourself? He's like shaking his head no. Do you want to tell anybody where to find you, or are you like no?
I mean, at Twitter, at P. McLellan. Yeah, I'm on there. No, the podcast, Lima Time. It's hyper specific. It's Astros baseball based podcast, but I try to not take it too seriously. I'm kind of clown around on there because it's baseball. Baseball is boring. Like, I love it, and I do understand that it's boring. So you can't just talk about baseball. But yeah, check that out and read my stupid tweets if you want. Or if not, I'm cool with that as well.
Read Patrick's stupid treats, trick or treat. He's very funny, and we're big fans. And we thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Anytime. This I don't get to talk music enough. So anytime you guys want to do it, I will gladly do it. This is so much fun.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Really nice talking to you.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to let you go. We'll see you again soon, I promise.
Right. For sure. Bye.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right.
Nice guy. Good conversation.
Very nice guy.
Hey, so we did 99 red balloons last week.
Almost fell across
really
the table.
Kind of charming.
Okay, so yeah, we don't get that many like new listeners right into us, so we just got like super excited. So I want to read this to you guys. This is from a listener, and God, I think it's pronounced Christina. Is it Jung or Young?
Young, I think.
Young.
Yeah.
It's with a J, so forgive me. But I'm going to read what she wrote because it made me excited. Hello, Diane and Ben. I listened to your conversation about Nina 99 Red Balloons last evening, which I really liked. Thank you. We're almost the same age, and I have to say, as a child, I got to know the song in Hungary, where there was still communism at the time, similarly to eastern part of Germany. At the time, I didn't understand the lyrics of the song at all, just that balloon, which as a child, I sang with the song as well. Already here in Germany, I have lived here for 14 years. I dealt with the original German lyrics of the song for the first time because it appeared that in addition to the superficial lightness of the music, it had deep content. That's when I got to know its real political historical background, and we actually experienced in our childhood only in other locations. I can easily believe that Nina was dissatisfied with the English text at the time, because now as I compare the German and English text, it is clear that the German text brings out the protest and political content much better than it wants to express, which is interesting.
Yes.
I must admit that in the age of socialist realism, many artists, musicians had to create in such a way that people could understand the hidden content behind the surface image / text. But this, quote, secret language can really be understood by someone who lives in it. Basically, a year ago, I discovered Nina's songs for myself, which are full of thoughts, and her works in recent years have specifically with philosophical content. It's very kind of you to have worked on a German song on the anniversary of the reunification of Germany. Of course we knew that. We are strategic.
No, I did not know that.
I didn't
That was
either.
a happy accident.
It was the happiest accident. I wish you more good work, and I look forward to your new topics. So thank you so much, Christina, for writing in. That was really cool because yeah, I feel like it's still a very interesting conversation about like the German translation versus the English translation of that song.
I didn't think about what she wrote, where they actually had to have some level of hidden meaning. They
Exactly.
couldn't be quite so overt. That never occurred to me when
Me
we were
either.
researching the episode. Global reach. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
That's
really
nice.
cool. Thank you guys so
Thank you very much for listening, Christine. And thank you for writing a lovely letter. It was very nice of you. Much appreciated.
All right, so next week is a Patreon week, which, as you guys remember, we drew a name and it was Ben's mom.
My mom.
And what song has she chosen?
We're going to do Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits.
Do I know that song?
You do.
Okay,
yes, yeah.
because I mean, I think about that. Look at them yo-yos. That's
Yeah.
the way we do it. I know that song is Dire Straits for sure, but I was like, I know their other songs.
Yeah, it's like their third biggest hit. They had
Okay.
the Money for Nothing, and then Sultans of Swing, and then
Okay.
Brothers in Arms.
Okay.
Is their serious tune.
I guess we can talk about it more. Did she say why? Is it just like a favorite song of
It's
hers?
just always been a favorite song of hers around there. We're trying to arrange a special guest.
Oh,
I'm trying.
Oh, you're
I'm
trying?
trying to talk my cousin Pete. My
Okay.
cousin Pete plays in a Dire Straits cover band, but not like a bar cover band. He's like the episode that we did with Freddie Morales.
Exactly.
Like he's on that level where they go and play 3,000, 5,000 seat theaters just doing Dire Straits tunes. So
what's the name of the band?
I should know that. It's D9.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope we can get him because that would be super fun. Even if he just pops in for a little bit and can tell us some stories.
We'll grab him somehow.
Okay.
We might have to record at a weird time because he is in Bristol.
Okay. Well, even if we have to do it another time, maybe that can be a Patreon
Aye,
episode.
okay.
We wanted to ask you guys too. Corbin, my husband, he now wants this limelight. He is such a fan of 99 Red Balloons, and he had so much to say about it. And he's upset that we didn't include him on the episode, which I didn't know he had such strong feelings. And I was like, well, what if we do an episode with him, like a little 5-minute sketch where he can just shake his fist at us and tell us all the things we missed, and we can upload that to Patreon too.
Yes, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you again to Patrick McLellan, and we will see you guys next week.
Really appreciate it. Vogue.
1, 2, 3.
Rock the Cash Bar is produced by Diane Gallagher, music by Chuck Savage and Eddie Hawkins. Special thank you to Jeremy Essig for 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson and to Sara Wessling for the Guilty Pleasures vocals. Our website is rockthecashbarpodcast.com, and there you can find links to our Spotify playlist and to our Patreon. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.